Hi, my name is Anna Brook. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm really excited to bring these yogic practices and postures to you because there are so many benefits to yoga, particularly at building strength and flexibility in the body, but also for the mind. So it really helps to calm the mind, moving away from anxiety or stress or the feelings of pressure that we have in our modern society. Also increasing focus, it's fantastic for that. So we're going to begin with a 10-minute sequence. Just to say also that if you have any sensitivities in the body, then please do check with your GP if it's appropriate for you to do yoga. And simply listening to your body as you go through, you know your body best, and if anything doesn't feel appropriate today, then please come to rest. Okay, I very much hope you enjoy this sequence. So this first sequence that we're going to do is particularly focusing on the shoulders, the back and the neck, and also lengthening the hamstrings as well. And with the emphasis on the calm yogic breathing, it's going to help to focus the mind. So let's begin in constructive rest position, lying on the back and having the soles of the feet on the floor. Now, you'll see that I'm lying on a yoga mat, but it's really not essential to have one, although you could pick one up for just a few pounds. You could just be lying on the carpet or on a wooden floor. So to begin with, just taking the hands to the belly. A lot of the time we breathe from this upper chest area, particularly if we're anxious or stressed. So we're going to focus on breathing in this lower abdominal area. So we're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 4. Just do a few counts here. So closing the eyes, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling, 2, 3, 4. Just a few more in your own time here. So really feeling the breath expand into the whole of the chest, feeling the rib cage expand, particularly feeling the breath in this lower abdominal area. And it's said that just a minute of this calm breathing is going to help to take all of the stress hormone cortisol out of your system. So breathing nice and deeply, such a simple thing, but really does calm down the whole of the system. So keeping that a nice long deep breath now as we bring in some movement. So let's bring the right knee in towards the chest, taking the hands around the bottom of the right knee, extending the left leg, and just gently pulling that right knee in towards the side of the body and pulling that left thigh down to the ground. Now, if that felt a little too much, you could still have this left knee bent with the sole of the foot on the floor. Otherwise, extending it, gently pulling the knee in towards the chest. And then swapping the legs over, coming over to the other side, taking the hands around the left knee, just below the knee, and the right thigh pulling down towards the ground. And the more that you pull that right thigh down towards the ground, you'll feel the opening across the top of the right thigh and the groin area. Long deep breaths here. And then releasing the soles of the feet down towards the ground. So feet come in towards the sit bones now, soles of the feet on the floor, palms pressing down into the ground. And we're just going to lift the pelvis off the floor an inch or two here. Inhaling and then exhaling, peeling the spine back down to the ground. And then inhaling, lifting up a little higher. An inch or so higher this time, and then lowering the spine back down to the ground. We're making space between the vertebrae, which can become compressed. Inhaling, lifting up a little higher. So this time coming to your highest point here, interlacing the hands under the back if that's comfortable, and lifting the pelvis up as high as you can now, feeling the strength in the legs to do that. And then if you wanted to go further, just taking that left foot to the center line and lifting the right leg up to the sky. That may be a little much if you are newer to yoga. Taking the right foot down to the ground, and if you want to, taking the left leg up again, building strength in the legs and also feeling that opening across the front of the chest in the arms. And then lowering the legs down and taking the hands either side of the hips, lowering down vertebra by vertebra. Okay, and then rolling over to the side, and let's come to some floor postures. So just taking the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, so a bit like a sort of tabletop position here. And then as we inhale, looking up towards the ceiling, taking the tailbone up towards the sky as you inhale, And then exhaling, curling through the spine. So we're dropping the back of the neck, pulling the navel up towards the sky. Inhaling, back the other way. And again, we're making space between the vertebra and then curling through the spine. So this is particularly good if you've got sensitivity in your back or your neck or your shoulders. Very quick and easy way to relieve any tension in those areas. And then coming back to a neutral spine. And pressing the right palm into the ground, lifting the left arm up towards the sky. So a gentle twist here. And then we're just going to begin circling. So making more space in the shoulder girdle of that left arm. And then back round the other way. And again, this is really good if you get tight shoulders, particularly as many of us are working on computers. This is really quick and easy way to relieve any tension in the shoulders. Coming to the other side, so pressing that left palm into the ground, the right arm lifts up, that gentle twist, looking up towards that top hand if you can. If your neck doesn't like that, then looking forward or down towards the ground. And then beginning to circle here. So with all of these postures, if anything doesn't feel quite right, then please just sit them out. You know your body better than anyone, going back round the other way. So please do sit any of these postures out if they don't feel appropriate. And then coming back to this box position. And coming to a really famous yoga posture, which is downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now, when we're beginning yoga, if you are newer to yoga, or if you're just feeling a little tight in the hamstrings, bend the knees. So it's better to, or more preferable to the body, to have a straighter spine and bending the knees, rather than having nice straight legs, but your spine is all curled up like this. So bend the knees and just holding here for a few breaths. So we're really building strength in the arms and the legs here. And then taking that right foot to the top of the mat. Now it may go in one step, or you may find that you need to edge it up to the top of your mat. And then just lowering the left knee down to the ground. So first stage would be to come to this position with the hands on the right knee. And the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. And we're simply sinking forward here. So opening through the left hip flexors and sinking forward here. If that was okay, you could take the arms up and over the head. So Anjani-asana, palms facing towards each other, sinking forward here. And either staying here or coming to the next stage, which is taking the hands either side of that front foot, sinking back onto your heel of your right foot. So this is half splits. We're not going to come into the full splits quite today, but just coming into this half splits position. And again, we want to have a nice long spine rather than curving like this. And then coming forward, pressing the palms into the ground and lifting up and back into a downward facing dog again. And coming over to the other side, so taking that left foot to the top of the mat, grounding through the right knee and taking the weight forward. So again, that left knee is over the ankle, hands come to the left knee, finding your balance, and then lifting the arms up above the head, palms facing towards each other. And then hands come either side of the front foot, sinking back and coming into the half splits again, Ardha Hanumanasana. So with all of these postures, we have a drishti or a gaze point. So in this posture, it's our big toe. And really this is just to help calm the mind down. So if we're looking around the room as we do the postures, our mind will be more active. So focusing on one point. And then taking the weight forward here and lifting up and back again into downward facing dog. So we're going to come from downward facing dog to standing. So you could do that in one step, or if that felt a bit much, then you might like to walk up towards your hands. So taking the feet step by step up towards the top of the mat and just taking hold of the elbows and swaying side to side here.
Just releasing through the backs of the legs, releasing the hands down, bending the knees, and then very slowly, vertebra by vertebra, coming up to standing. Okay, so let's come into just a few standing postures. So let's come into tree, again, quite a well-known yoga posture. So taking the right foot, so it's really grounded, the four corners of the feet grounding down into your mat or to the floor. And then to come into the full tree, we're going to take the right foot into the inner thigh. Now that may feel initially a little much, so you could begin by having the foot at the ankle or maybe to the inner knee. So wherever you come to here, it really doesn't matter how far you come into it. Then you could take the hands to prayer at the chest, or you might like to take them up here. So to begin with, let's maybe come to this version. So focusing the eyes or the gaze on one point and coming back to the breathing. And then swapping over to the other side. So releasing the foot down, taking the weight into the left foot, and let's come into the full posture now, if that's doable for you. So taking the right leg into the inner thigh and taking the palms to prayer at the chest, just finding your drishti point or your gaze point, and then maybe taking the arms up above the head. So we're focusing on the standing leg being nice and strong, crown of the head reaching up towards the sky, and breathing nice and slowly, keeping on going with that abdominal breathing. I'm just trying to quieten the mind. And then releasing down there when you're ready. And then Prasarita Padottanasana, so taking the legs nice and wide. This is going to really open up the hamstrings at the back of the legs. So the outside edge of the foot is in line with the outside edge of your mat if you have one. Otherwise, it's just a sense of being slightly pigeon-toed rather than the toes being out to the sides. And then taking the hands behind your back and interlacing the fingers. I'll just show you that grip, so they look like that. Okay. So grounding through your feet, inhaling to lift up nice and tall, exhaling to fold forward. So in this one, it's a really strong opener for the shoulders. Again, a lovely counter posture to what many of us are doing with computers, which is sort of hunching forward. Also, a lot of our tension goes to our shoulders. So even if we're not working with computers or having to sit, anxiety, tension creeps into the shoulders and brings them up towards the ears. So this is going to really help with that. And then taking the arms back down towards the ground, engaging the core to come up to standing. And then just taking the feet together there. And then stepping wide again, but with the toes pointing out this time. I'm going to sink down into a squat now, so building strength in the legs. So sinking down, knees, bending the knees, lifting the arms up towards the sky, palms facing towards each other. And up to you how far you take this. So obviously the lower you go, the more you're going to feel the strength in the legs. You could stay here, or the hands could be on the waist if, again, that felt a little too much. So staying here for as long as is possible for you. If it's too much, then simply coming a little higher. Okay, and then just releasing that and taking the feet back to the centre. And let's come back down to the ground for some seated postures. So, Janu Shasana, this is going to really help to loosen up the back and also the shoulders and the neck. So the right sole of the foot comes into the left inner thigh and just squaring the hips over towards that left leg. And then releasing forward. So in the full posture, we're coming to take the head down to the knee. Again, it really doesn't matter where we come to in these postures. We just go at our own pace. Yoga's entirely non-competitive, so it really doesn't matter where we come to. Taking the hands to the knees would be a first port of call. And then just creeping the hands down the shin and maybe coming to take the foot. So
So wherever you come to here, just releasing forward, coming back to those long, deep breaths. So as you inhale, feeling the breath fill the whole of the body, every cell of the body flooded with oxygen. And as you exhale, feeling a sense of letting go, of relieving tension. And relaxing into these postures. These forward folds, very calming for the central nervous system. And then coming up to sitting. Let's swap over to the other side. So taking the right leg to extend and the left sole of the foot into the inner thigh. Just squaring the hips slightly over to the right and then folding forward here, wherever you come to. Coming to this point here. So yoga is really about taking our attention fully to whatever we're doing. So in a yoga posture, as soon as thoughts come in the mind, we're just trying to focus on the breath and the posture that we're in, how it feels in the body. And the more that we develop that focus, the more in life we can focus more fully on everything that we do. So whether that is going for a walk, really concentrating when we're talking to someone, focusing on the work that we're doing, it's helping to increase our concentration, our focus, relieving anxiety and calming the mind. And then releasing there. And coming to diamond posture, so taking the soles of the feet together, and up to you how far you have the feet away from your body. It will be less intense when we fold forward if the feet are here. You may like to intensify it for the inner thighs by bringing the soles of the feet in towards the body. So inhaling, lifting up nice and tall, exhaling to fold forward. So this is a lovely stretch for the inner thighs. And often in these postures we're accessing muscles that maybe we don't in everyday life. So that's really good for the body. There's a saying in sort of the yoga world that our issues are in our tissues. So meaning that our tensions of the mind are stored in the body. So by accessing these parts of the body that we don't normally, we're helping to release these things which are stored, because there's such a connection between the mind and the body. And then coming to release there. Okay, so let's come to our final position, Shavasana, or final relaxation. So taking the feet, so there's a bit of distance between them, about the width of your mat if you have one, otherwise say about 1 metre between them. And then taking the palms to face up, making sure that shoulders are pulling away from the ears and closing the eyes here. So this is said to be the most difficult posture in yoga because we're being asked to do nothing. And the mind loves to do stuff. And yoga is about coming into a state of being rather than a state of doing. So I'm just going to talk you through a scan of the body, and this is going to help to really calm the mind, calm the body, and help you feel more focused when we come to an end. So beginning at the soles of the feet, feeling the soles of the feet relaxing here, and feeling the tops of the feet and the ankles. Feeling the calves sinking down into the ground and the shins. And the knees relaxing here. And the backs of the legs, fronts of the legs. And the whole pelvis, very heavy. And then feeling the whole of the back, releasing and relaxing. And the front of the body. I'm feeling the shoulders relax. And the whole of the arm on the left side down into the fingertips. And the whole right arm down into the fingertips. Back of the head, crown of the head, and the whole of the face. So feeling the whole body relaxed here, the whole body.
you can stay here as long as you like, of course. And the longer the better. This is where the body assimilates the movement that you've brought into the body. And it's very calming for the central nervous system to rest in this way. So simple but very powerful practice, simply resting. So I hope you've enjoyed this practice and you enjoy it in the future as well. Okay, so this is a chair yoga sequence which you could do at home, or if you were at work and you wanted to do it before work in your lunch break, whenever, then this is really going to help to loosen up the shoulders, the back and the neck. Okay, so to begin with, let's close the eyes and just focus on the breath for a little bit, helping to calm down the whole system. So we're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 8. Nice long exhale really settles us and moves us into the opposite of the fight or flight when we're very busy. So inhaling 2, 3, 4 and exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 2, 3, 4 and exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 2, 3, 4, exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just opening the eyes here, taking the hands to the shoulders and begin to circle. So we're loosening up the shoulder girdle, going one way then the other, and moving into any particular niggles that you may have in your own shoulders. So you may like to do smaller circles or bigger circles. And then taking the elbows out to the sides and bringing the elbows towards each other and then apart. So here we're really opening up the trapezius muscle at the top of the shoulders there, which can become quite tight. And if any of these particular postures work well for you and your particular physiology, then of course please do pause this and focus on those, do more of one particular sequence if that works for you. And then just taking the hands down to your knees. And taking the right palm, keeping it on the right thigh there, the left palm facing up towards the sky, and let's come over to the side here. So instead of kind of crumpling here, the body will try and make it easier by doing this. We're lifting up and out of the waist, engaging the core muscles slightly to be able to tip over to the side, and pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And then coming over to the other side, taking the left palm to the left thigh and reaching up and over, and this top elbow and particularly the shoulder, again I want to creep up towards the ears, so just releasing them down. And a few more of those. Let's just do one more on each side, although of course you could do more in your own time, really loosening up the neck and the sides of the body. And then coming back to the center here, placing the hands on the knees, inhaling, looking up towards the ceiling. So this is a lovely opener for the front of the neck as you inhale up, and then exhaling, curling through the spine, dropping the neck down to the floor. Inhaling, looking up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling forward. And again, can be quite nice to do really quite a few of these. It's a very quick way to relieve tension caused by working on a computer. And then coming back to the center here, let's come into a twist. So looking over your right shoulder and taking the left hand to the outside of your right knee. The other hand coming to the back of your chair, lifting up nice and tall as you inhale, exhaling, twisting a little further round. So hopefully in this you're going to feel a really nice stretch down the side of the neck. And again, these muscles that we just don't access very often, these are the ones that become tight and then start to give us issues sometimes. So let's swap round to the other side. So taking that left hand the right hand to the left knee, lifting up nice and tall and twisting to look over your shoulder. So the body will want to make this easier by kind of collapsing here. So we're lifting up nice and tall and looking behind us. And then back to the centre. And then simply taking the arm in a big circle. So this is going to bring more synovial fluid into the joints and relieve tension. So simple, but a really effective way to loosen up tense shoulders. So going one way and then the other. And then coming over to the other side. And trying to remember to breathe nice and fully in these as well. Sometimes when we're concentrating, we can stop breathing, and that's when the tension moves into the body. So nice full breaths with these as well. And then back to the centre. And then simply leaning forward and taking the hands down to the ground. So it's a really nice opening through the whole of the back, particularly the lower back. Releasing in the shoulders, dropping through the neck, and noticing where you're holding any tension here. So fully relaxing. And then slowly curling up vertebra by vertebra, coming up to sitting, and just closing the eyes here. So sitting quietly and taking your attention to the body breathing. And just counting the breaths here. So as you inhale and exhale, counting 1. As you inhale and exhale, counting 2. And you can do this all the way up to 10. And when the mind slips into thinking, then simply beginning the count again at 1. And you could continue with this practice as long as you have time. It really helps to calm the mind and focus the mind. Okay, so this is a really quick and easy posture called plank position. You may know it as a little like the press-up position from a fitness perspective. But in yogic terms, it's about building strength in the arms and the legs, but also in the mind, developing resiliency and also focus. So taking the palms so that they're directly under the shoulders, the palms really pressing down into the ground so you've got a nice strong foundation, tucking the toes, and feeling that the body is almost parallel to the ground here. And then picking a point with your eyes to focus on the ground. And it's a simple case of holding this as long as you can. So it's quite nice practice to every day come to this position and then begin to record how long you can stay in it. So the first day it may be 10 seconds. The next day it may be 20 seconds, working up to maybe a minute. So holding it as long as you can, feeling the strength in the arms and the legs, and focusing on determination, resiliency, how long can you stay in it, and then coming down to a child's pose whenever you need to. So in child's pose, just taking the forehead to the ground, resting the hips back onto the heels, and taking a few breaths here. And then coming up when you're ready. So you really start to notice strength building in the core, the arms and the legs. This is a breath meditation, and meditation on the breath has been used for thousands of years as a way of calming and focusing the mind. So we simply come to sit either in a chair, or you could sit on the floor, whatever's comfortable, resting the hands on your knees, closing the eyes, and trying to keep quite a good posture, so sitting up nice and tall but not in a stiff way, nice and relaxed. And then simply taking your attention to the body breathing. So a good point to notice this is around the navel area. Noticing the breath flowing in and out of the body around the stomach, the abdomen. And noticing how the body is breathing itself. You're not actually having to do anything to the breath as it flows in and out in this tidal motion. So how fully could you take your attention to this tidal flow of the breath? And you're very likely to find before long that the mind starts putting up resistance to you sitting here not doing very much in the form of thoughts. So all sorts of thoughts will come into the mind. We're said to have around 1 to 10 most prominent thoughts of the day. So that can be really big things down to quite trivial, mundane things which change on a regular basis. But you'll find that those thoughts are coming into the mind and preventing you from just focusing on the body breathing. So as the mind sinks into those thoughts, simply labelling them. So you can label them planning, or thinking, and then simply let them go and return to this focus on the body breathing and the focus on the breath around the navel abdomen area. So where is the mind now? If it's slipped off into thought, just labelling those thoughts and returning to the focus on the breathing. So again, you could stay in this meditation for as little as 2 or 3 minutes a day will make a difference. However, if you can do 10 minutes, 15, ideally half an hour a day, you'll really start to notice a difference in terms of focus, just the mind not jumping around so much. So if you're working, you can just focus on what you're doing rather than trying to do a million things at once. Very good at relieving anxiety, stress. And as we label the thoughts, we're also noticing what our mind does. So you may notice that you're a habitual planner and can address that so that you're not overdoing anything if it's not beneficial to you. So I really hope you enjoyed that sequence. If you'd like to do more yoga, then you could book onto our Yoga for Busy People course. And if you want more information, then please do look on our website online.